guys, it's Sydney back in another video. Today we will be talking about hamster care, and if you plan on getting a hamster, you should seriously watch this video because everything is super important. Most importantly, whenever you're thinking about getting a hamster, you need to think about what cage that you're going to put them in. And honestly, instead of cages, I like tanks and bin cages, and I will say that because hamsters need a minimum of 450 square inches. And to some people that would sound like a whole lot, especially compared to the cages that are sold in stores. But the cages that are sold in stores, most of them are not suitable for hamsters. And whenever a hamster is in too small of a cage, it can develop horrible stress-related issues, and it can bar bite, which is where they chew on the bars of the cage, and it's just not healthy. They don't get enough stimulation that they need. They're not happy. And many people will say, well, oh, my hamster's been perfectly fine in her cage, even though it's under the minimum. Well, hamsters are flight animals. They're not going to show you how they're feeling. They're not going to show you if they feel sick or not. Cages that I would recommend is like a 40-gallon tank because it is just over the minimum and it gives them plenty of space. I would go with a 40-gallon long instead of a regular 40-gallon or a 40-gallon tall because a 40-gallon long gives them plenty of floor space. Something else that I would recommend is the Hamster Heaven by Savick and also the Purview 528. Both of those cages are actually cages that are above the minimum. They actually give the hamster a good amount of space if you actually really want a cage. Many people will complain that these cages are too expensive. Sometimes I agree because honestly I don't like spending a whole lot of money on certain things. So a great alternative for that would be a bin cage. And if anybody's interested in a video on that, you can search up someone else's video or you can ask me to make the video and I probably will. You guys could also find a tank that's above the minimum, like an old fish tank or something, that has enough floor space in it, because a lot of people are always getting rid of them. Just make sure that if you have a tank or a bin cage, that your hamster has plenty of ventilation. Mainly a mesh lid would be perfect for that. Many people like using the IKEA Detolf. A Detolf from IKEA is basically just a shelving system that the shelves can be removed. So I think it's really neat because they give them plenty of space. They are so long and amazing. I wish that I had room for one because I would absolutely love to get one. And honestly, they're not that expensive, and sometimes people find them for cheap or free because many people are just getting rid of them. Another subject when you're getting a hamster is the type of bedding you're going to use. No pine bedding at all or cedar. No pine or cedar bedding. This can be very bad for them. It's pretty poisonous for them, and also you want to stay clear of dusty bedding. Great bedding to use is the KD Clean and Cozy small animal bedding. It's not like fluffy bedding, it's not cotton, because if you use cotton, it can wrap around your hamster's limbs and it can cut off circulation, causing them to lose a limb. It can also choke them, which is obviously not okay, and it can clog up their digestive system. If they eat the fluffy bedding, it's really bad for them because it causes blockages. So the KD Clean and Cozy is actually perfect for them. A lot of people use it. It's a paper-based bedding, and it's another great bedding to use is aspen bedding. I actually use the paper-based bedding and the aspen bedding. I also use hemp bedding. All three of those are perfect. Hamsters need plenty of room to burrow. Some hamsters don't burrow, but most of them do. So I would recommend 4 to 5 inches of bedding, so they have plenty of space to burrow. If you want to put more, that's awesome. Basically with hamsters, more is better. I love the Higgins Sunburst Gourmet Blend, and lots of people love that. I'm on a big hamster community page, and Many and many of us use that. We also highly recommend the Missouri rat and mouse food. I know it says rat and mouse food, but it's actually good for hamsters because it's a good thing to supplement them. I would recommend 2 a day. Hamsters can have fruits and veggies, but whenever it comes to sweet things, I would say feed them fruits sparingly because hamsters are pretty prone to diabetes, especially the smaller kinds of hamsters, such as dwarf hamsters. But they can have vegetables. Just be careful with iceberg lettuce and stuff because iceberg lettuce can cause them to have very runny stool, and that is obviously not good. Just look up and research before you decide to give your hamster any fruits or veggies because some of them can be poisonous to your hamster. What should you put in your cage? In your cage, you obviously need bedding, and I would also recommend getting some chews for your hamsters. Just make sure that they are suitable for your hamster. Make sure that they are recommended and do a lot of research before buying certain chews for your hamsters because some of them have inappropriate dyes or the substance is just not good for them. The reason that we recommend chews is because your hamster's teeth never stop growing. They will always be growing. So we recommend chews so that whenever they chew things, they can kind of grind their own teeth down. Basically just how we file our nails. It keeps them short and comfortable. You should also have a wheel. You should most definitely have a wheel in your hamster's enclosure because wheels help hamsters to stay strong and healthy. Whenever they run on them, it's like us walking and doing our daily exercise. No matter how much room your hamster has, they should have a wheel. If they do not have a wheel, they can get very unhealthy. You should have an 8 to 12-inch wheel depending on the kind of hamster you have. If you have a dwarf, an 8-inch wheel might be fine because we're just trying to avoid their back from arching too much. If you have a Syrian, I would recommend a 12-inch wheel because that gives them plenty of space to run without their back arching. Another thing that you can include in your hamster's enclosure is a sand bath. Hamsters should not be washed with water. They should not get baths like you would bathe your dog. They should not have those. Sand baths help them to keep their fur and their skin from getting too oily because your hamster does develop oils on their fur. Some hamsters do not roll in their sand baths, and some hamsters do not actually use the sand bath as a bath. Some of them use it as a litter box, which also makes cleaning their enclosure a whole lot easier. Another thing that you should have in your cage is plenty of hiding areas. Hamsters love to hide. They're also nocturnal, so in the daytime, they like to be able to go and sleep and be comfortable in their dark area. So any hide that you can pick up, it'd be suitable for your hamster most likely. Just watch to make sure that your hamster is not chewing on it too much if it's not suitable to be eaten by your hamster. Your hamster should obviously have food and water. A little food bowl is perfectly fine for his food. And for water, you can either use a water bottle that obviously does not drip, and some people also use a bowl for their water. Just make sure it's not too deep because your hamster could drown. Do hamsters get lonely? No, hamsters do not get lonely. Hamsters do not need a buddy. They are solitary animals. They travel for long distances in the wild by themselves. They're not like humans or other certain kinds of animals. They do not need a buddy. Most likely, they will fight to the death, and they will really hurt each other. So I would highly recommend not getting your hamster a buddy. Now, if you want to have multiple hamsters, just make sure they have separate enclosures, please. Okay guys, thank you so much for watching. Feel free to do more research before you get your hamster. It is always great to do as much research as possible. Hamsters are wonderful beginner pets, but they are also very tedious sometimes. And you should definitely look into them before purchasing one or adopting one. I think that you should actually adopt one instead of purchasing one. There are plenty of hamsters out there needing homes. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day.